ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Namaskar my dear friends, this is video number 5 on Amrita Bindu or Brahma Bindhu Upanishad. This video continues with the topic of video number 4, that is all hindrances for samadhi and their destruction. So this topic is Kashya and its antidote. Though by repeated practice Manas is awakened from Laya and its wandering checked by the twofold process of Jnana Bhashya and Vairagya Bhavana. Still, it is far from having attained perfect balance. The state of the unconditioned Brahma. When in this intermediate stage, the Manas is known to be Saksya or impassioned as still possessed of raga or attachment, which is the seed of all its activity in the direction of external objects. From this state, as from the states of Laya and Vikshepa, Manas should be restrained by a special effort by means of what is known as Samprajanata Samadhi. Samprajanata Samadhi and brought to a perfectly balanced condition, that is, to the state of Asamprajanata Samadhi. When once by the twofold Samadhi, Manas tends to a state of perfect balance, to that of the unconditioned being, it should no longer be disturbed. Care should be taken that it does not again fly towards sense objects. Rasasya Vada and its antidote. Means, see, difficulties and their solution. This is the meaning. So, Rasasya Vada and its antidote. There is yet another obstacle which the Acharya treats of in the following verse number 45. नास्वादयेत सुखम तत्र निसंगः परगया भवेत निश्चलम निश्चरचित्तमेकी कुर्यात् प्रयतन्तः. Let him not taste the pleasure therein without attachment. Let him resort to wisdom. Let him with effort make the steady chitta one with it tends to go out. Samadhi is of two kinds, Samprajanta or Savikalpa and Asamprajanta or Nirvikalpa. When Manas is engaged in profound contemplation of Brahma, always thinking I am Brahma, at a certain stage it assumes the form of Brahma, but without ceasing to think of a distinction between the meditator and Brahma who is meditated upon, So long as this distinction continues in the thought, the samadhi is said to be in the se vikalpa or samprajanta stage. When this distinction disappears in thought altogether, when Manas is enwrapped with Brahma so as to be completely identified with him, it is said to have reached the asamprajanta or nirvikalpaka stage of samadhi. The yogin who wishes to attain to samadhi should not taste the pleasure which manifests itself in the samadhi state. He should restrain manas from cherishing any longing even for the intense pleasure which is felt in Savikalpaka Samadhi. What should he do then? Without longing for the pleasure, he should have recourse to discrimination. That is, he should dwell on the thought that the pleasure which is found to arise in the say vikalpka in the say vikalpaka samadhi is a mere fiction due to avidya and is therefore false, and that whatever is accidental is a mere fiction like the serpent imagined in a rope. Thus, the yogin should prevent the mind from longing for even this sort of pleasure. When again Manas, though restrained from a longing for the pleasure by Vairagya and made to dwell steadily in the Atman by practice of Samadhi, still tries to assert its nature and is inclined to wander outside by a longing for pleasure and objects of pleasure. It should again be restrained with effort from so wandering by resorting to the means already described, such as Gyan Bhasha and Vairagya. To sum up, by practice of Samprajanta Samadhi, culminating in Asamprajanta Samadhi, the aspirant should make Manas one with Prabrahma, and he himself should remain as the pure all-full Brahman. Manas identical with Brahma. When does Manas become completely identical with Brahma? The Acharya explains this in stanza number 46. यदा न लीयते चित्तं न च विक्षिप्यते पुनः अनिंगम न मंताभासं निष्पन्नं ब्रह्म तद्दता. When the chitta is not dissolved, nor is distracted again, unmoving and unmanifesting, then it becomes Brahma. When thus freed from all obstacles and completely withdrawn from sense objects by jnana bhashya and other means described above, Manas is no longer subject to laya nor resolved into its cause nor distracted by external objects and is steady like the lamp flame in a windless spot, not manifesting itself as an external object of any kind. Then Manas has become Brahma. Brahma realized in Nirodha Samadhi. Brahma as realized when Manas attains to a state of perfect balance, that is to what is called asamprajanta samadhi, is described by the Acharya as follows in stanza number 47. Swasti shantam se nirvanmakathyam sukhmuttamam ajmejen gyan sarvagyam prichakshati. Existing in itself, tranquil, endued with bliss, indescribable, it is the highest belief, unborn as the unborn knowable, they declare it omniscient. Thus, Manas in Asamprajanta Samadhi is the very Brahma, is the real bliss, the reality of the self. It exists by itself, by its own greatness. That is, it is quite independent of all. It is peace, the cessation of all evil. It has attained to nirvana. It is indescribable and quite an uncommon thing. It is the highest bliss felt by yogins only. The the Brahmavids declare that this bliss and knowledge is unborn, unlike sensuous pleasure and knowledge, and as such, it is one with the unborn, with that which we seek to realize. Being omniscient, it is identical with the omniscient Brahma who is bliss itself. The farthest limit of the process of restraint. How long is this process of restraining to be carried on? The Shruti says, Tavdave nirodhvam yavirdvidhi gatam akshayam. So long only should it be restrained till it attains dissolution in the heart. When Manas is dissolved in the heart lotus, all external perceptions being replaced by the consciousness I am Brahma, then there is no more need for restraint, and it has been shown by quoting the sayings of teachers belonging to the line of the ancient tradition that the dissolution of manas consists in attaining to a state of perfect equilibrium, that is to the state of Brahman. Restraint of manas is the essence of all worship. How then it is that no jnana or dhyana is taught here? It is only restraint of manas that is taught here. But mere restraint cannot constitute a human end. In reply, the Shruti says, this is explained in stanza number 5. Etad jnanam cha dhyanam cha sesho nyayascha vistraha. This is jnana and dhyana, the rest mere dispute and prolixity. This restraint of manas constitutes jnana, the sakshatkara, an intuitive perception of the fact that I am Brahma. It is this restraint which conduces to jnana. The jnana which results from an investigation of the Shastras ultimately takes the form of this Nirodha. Yoga too is the same. It constitutes also dhyana, the meditation that I am Brahma. In short, Nirodha is the culmination of Sankhya and Yoga, and it is the Nirodha which underlies all other sadhanas or spiritual exercises, all acts other than the restraining of manas within are tantamount to quarrels of disputants. He who constantly studies shastras may acquire erudition, the main result being no better than mere waste of breath. Any more teaching in books forms a mere string of words. So a wise man should content himself with a moderate amount of book learning, all except what contributes to the restraint of manas and to a knowledge of its process does not in the least lead to real happiness. Charity, worship, austerity, purificatory ablutions, pilgrimages to sacred places, Vedas, and learning, all this is useless to a man whose manas is not tranquil. Therefore, above all, one should practice restraint of manas. By restraint of manas, one can achieve all his aspirations here and hereafter. Without it, no human and that is good can be attained. Highest and attained by restraint of manas. It has been said that when manas has been completely restrained, the highest end of man is attained. How? This is explained in stanza number 6 of Brahma Bindu or Amrita Bindu. नैव चिन्तयं न चाचिन्तयं न चिन्तयं चिन्तमेव तत पक्षपात विनिर्मुक्तं ब्रह्म सम्पद्यते तदा. Never to be thought nor unthought, unthinkable but altogether worthy of thought is that free from one-sidedness Brahma, then it becomes. The highest stage now attained cannot be thought of as an external something which is agreeable to the mind. Neither has it to be avoided in thought as an external object of dislike. It cannot be spoken of by any word of mouth, and while immersed in this samsara, none can think of it. It can only be thought of as the immortal self. It cannot even be felt as any sensual pleasure can be. Nevertheless, it is none other than the eternal, unsurpassable, self luminous bliss which is quite worth contemplating. It is the very thing described as the true, intelligent, and infinite bliss, and so on. In the Nirodha state, when Manas is free from all activity, it becomes Brahma, the same in all beings. When Manas is free from all predilections caused by friendship or enmity, then man becomes Brahma without much ado. Perfect restraint of Manas possible, or the verse may be explained as an answer to the question, how can Manas ever attain to an unthinking state, to the condition of Brahma, inasmuch as there always is something to be constantly thought of and something else to be constantly avoided in thought. The unthinkable has not to be thought of, nor is what is thinkable to be avoided in thought. Then, freed from all one sidedness, it becomes Brahma. The reality being quite inaccessible to thought, there is really nothing to think of. Neither is there any necessity for forgetting anything, for the external objects of sense, which alone the mind can ever think of, have no real existence. When thus freed from one sidedness, from the thinking of the real and the forgetting of the unreal, then Manas becomes Brahma. Restraint of Manas by means of Parnava. The Shruti proceeds to point out the way in which the restraint is to be effected. This is explained in stanza number 7 of Brahma Bindu Upanishad. Sovereign संध्येदो सवरम भावयेत परम असवराणु भावेन भावो वान भावो इष्यते. Meaning, by sound let a man affect yoga, then let him meditate upon the not sound. Then by the realization of the not sound, the non-being is seen as being. By meditating upon Parnava, upon its constituent sounds, in accordance with the instructions of the Shruti and the teacher, the aspirant should achieve yoga, the restraint of manas, culminating in the knowledge I am Brahma. When firmly established in Parnava, he should meditate upon the Parnava beyond sound, that is, he should dwell on the mere idea without the help of the sound. When meditation without the help of the sound reaches the culminating point in the form of the intuitive knowledge, I am Brahma, then in the absence of avidya and all its effects, is seen the essence of Brahma, free from all limitations. There remains then nothing but Brahma, who is existence, intelligence, and bliss in essence. Or the meditation here enjoined may be described as follows. By Savras, by Savras, by the vowels A and U, that is, in the Jagrat Swapna state which these vowels represent. Yoga should be practiced by earnest and zeal. The practice of yoga is possible even in the Jagrat Swapna state. He should then meditate upon M, which is next to the vowels A and U in Om, that is, upon the Ananda state which is next to Jagrat Swapna. Thus, meditating on M or Ananda state, one attains not to the non-being but to the all-full being, the Turiya or the fourth state. So it is elsewhere said, by M, beyond the vowels, one reaches the subtle state. Jagrat Swapna is defined to be that state of manas in which, whether restrained by yoga or not, it returns to itself and is exclusively concerned with its own subjective world, never going out towards external objects of sense. Manas completely restrained in Brahma. In the Nirodha state, Manas is not reduced to a nullity. It is the particular form of this or that object assumed by Manas which distinguishes it from Brahma. But when Manas is engaged in the thought of the unconditioned Atma, then the pure Brahma's being as existence in the abstract divested of all form become manifest. The real nature of a thing does not merely consist in the particular form in which it presents itself to the senses. It exists also as existence in the abstract, that which manifests itself in manas when all its particular forms are neutralized is none else than Brahma. Accordingly, the Shruti describes this state of being thus in stanza number 8. तदेव निष्कलं ब्रह्म निर्विकल्पं निरञ्जनं तद् ब्रह्म है मिति ज्ञात्वा ब्रह्म संपद्यते ध्रुवम् means that verily is partless Brahma which is beyond all thought unstand. Knowing that Brahma am I, one becomes Brahma the immutable. The beingness which manifests itself when avidya and the rest are absent is Brahma. It is devoid of all phases of manifestation such as prana. It transcends all. It cannot be described as this or as not this. It is unstained by avidya, which is the seed of all evil. Brahma of this nature is intuitively realized by all Brahmavadins. To them, the Self, which is self-luminous consciousness and bliss, and which is present in the mind of everyone as his ego, is not different from Brahma, the infinite. Thus, perceiving intuitively his identity with Brahma, the yogin becomes the very Brahma. Brahma known to the wise only. It is known only to the enlightened, for it is this is explained in stanza number 9. निर्विकल्पमनन्तं च हेतु दृष्टांत वर्जितम् अपरमेया मनादिं च यद् ज्ञात्वा मुच्यते बुद्धः. Beyond all thought and infinite, beyond argument and illustration, unknowable and causeless, knowing which the wise man is liberated. The other kalas or phases of being are faith, ether, air, light, water, earth, sense, mind, food, vigor, penance, hymens, sacrifice, the words and name. This is from Brahma Upanishad. So, meaning of stanza number 9, beyond all thought and infinite, beyond argument and illustration, unknowable and causeless, knowing which the wise man is liberated. It is not limited by space and time, nor is it limited by other things. Nothing can be inferred about it. In short, it is accessible to no instrument of cognition. But there is the wise man who, having realized Brahma has been liberated, he is quite familiar with Brahma as described above. When the Atma is known and Manas has undergone dissolution to the Manasless yogin, Brahma thus described becomes self manifest. So I end this video here. Next video number 6 will start with the topic Atma ever changeless. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe the channel. Namaskar my dear friends.